All right. Hey, you ready? All right. We're gonna move over now to Wall-E on the PC, done by Tadda, with commentary by Robotic Rocketeer. I'll mute myself now, and we're gonna signal in Twitch chat for Tadda to go. Just give me 1 sec.
All right, howdy folks, welcome to License-a-thon. My name is Robotic Rocketeer. I'm going to be commentating today's run. This is Tadda playing Wall-E on the PC. This is a really interesting game because it has these speed games really evolved a lot in the last really under a year. So we've had a lot of improvements here. It's become a very surprisingly technical platforming game. So I'm going to kind of explain the tricks that are being done as they happen, and I'm going to be reading the chat. So if you guys have any questions about what's going on, feel free to ask, and we will. I'll talk to you about it. So this game was made to come out to accompany the 2008 Pixar film, also about a little robot who falls in love, goes to space, and saves humanity. So. This first cutscene, you see Wall-E kind of has his origin story. And this is the tutorial level of the game, where it's just framed as a diagnostic level, where they're just testing all the features of the robots. And this run is going to actually start out of the bat with some pretty neat stuff. So let's see how this.
Checkup. Phase 1. Prepare for the B&L collection checkup.
So what you're seeing going on right here is Tadda is he's spamming Wall-E's box charge move, which is an attack that he does, but it also increases your speed to 3 out of 4 maximum speed units that Wall-E is allowed to have. And that does that instantly rather than having to wait for Wall-E to accelerate. So you get a fun time there. Wall-E automatically generates cubes whenever he's on top of a trash pile. And so you just you get to throw targets.
Phase 4.
Also, this game has really glitchy animation if you try to do it fast, so you have a lot of fun instances of characters disappearing or T-posing and things like that. We'll see more of that in a later level. There isn't a whole lot really technical that goes on in this level until a couple of stages in the future. So most of this game just revolves around utilizing speed and half pipes to get where you need to be and to collect collectibles to complete the game. So this level is just really teaching you how to do those half pipes. There's really not a whole lot of substance to this, so you just go through the intended way quickly. Except for this next segment, there is a neat skip that you can do that has the potential to crash the game. Tadda's going to do this real quick. But basically, after you go up this ramp, if you turn around and go off, you can skip this whole speed building segment. But if you don't do it correctly, the ramp will go back up and the game will just crash. So that's a fun time.
Welcome to the by and large.
This is the only RNG dependent section of this level. For obvious reasons, this is a slot machine. Oh, that's a really good RNG.
Scanning. By and large checkup.
So yeah, there you go.
10.
We're moving on to the final stage of the level pretty soon. So you just have the health recharge level, which just got skipped. and then you can actually skip this segment with just a precise
Accessing
jump.
previously
So that's what's
unvisited
going to go on
areas
here.
and
Normally you have to
activating
throw
will
3
not
cubes
where
at
you
that target. Oof. Okay, that was the first choke of this run. Okay,
Congratulations.
there you
have
go.
completed
That's
all by and
usually
large
how that
checkups.
happens. That jump has killed a
Your
lot
attention,
of both
please.
Tadda's and
All
my
Wallybots
runs.
are required to seek shelter immediately. Once again, all Wallybots must seek shelter immediately.
Yeah. That jump gets failed a lot. It happens. So this next level is a really fun one. So normally the way this level works is you have to dodge a sandstorm, and by doing that you just have to go down this tower as fast as possible. What Tad is going to do in this is a skip called Sand Trip, wherein you can clip through a wall and just fall straight down to the end of the level with some precise movements. So we're going to see that real quick. This game has a lot of unskippable cutscenes in it. The only known way to skip the cutscenes is to use the debug, which is actually just the right-click context menu of the game itself. If you force it to run in windowed mode. But for regular any percent, we just run it with the cutscenes in, because being able to just have the cutscenes there just gives you a little bit of breather time, and the cutscenes are always the same length, so it's not like it really affects the speed game too much. Okay, so this level forces you to be at max speed all the time. A speedometer is right there in the bottom right corner. Disable movie doesn't actually doesn't disable it in full screen mode. Okay, so here's the skip. So by going up on this wall here, you're able to clip there, box charge to the side, and then go down. Oh, he's gonna take fall damage. Nope, never mind. Okay. And that he just skipped about a minute of gameplay there. There we go. And that is Sandstorm Sprint. Okay, 2 spaces says that you can just add the command disable movie to the init file and that it'll disable the movies, but I think what it is just the rules for any percent doesn't allow you to modify game files. So coming up next, we have what I believe is the fastest level in the game. It's pretty much just cutscenes once you and it has maybe 10 seconds of gameplay in it. You'll see why in a moment. There's really not much to be said about this level. It just, it's a cutscene. And then once the cutscene ends, it's a little tutorial on how to find hidden items in the game. Except because this is any percent, this is the only one of those that we collect. There it is. There's the hidden item. And there you go. That's the level. So there's that. There's a cutscene in between. And then there's walking out a door. That's this level. Home Sweet Home was actually originally intended to be the hub world of the game. But at some point they opted not to have a hub world, so I'm pretty sure these levels were just made so that they could use those assets for something else. So this level actually gets reused. It's 3 times total in the game. There's this part. There's a second part where you're chasing a laser dot, and there's the third part, which is the epilogue, and that's the same level reused 3 times, but on the third time there's grass. Okay. Here we get to our first real interesting technical level. So Workday has a lot of interesting skips, like that vertical boost there from jumping off of a trash pot, which saves you from having to throw cubes at the crates there. You'll also see in this game a lot of box charging instead of jumping, because Wally's jump pretty much nets you 0 vertical height. It's just a distance jump. And so in a lot of cases you can just box charge, and because box charging is faster than jumping, that happens a lot. So what's going on here is you just need to collect 50 of these blue energy charges as quickly as possible. They're in various crates spread throughout the level. And this route has been changed a lot, even just in the time since I started speedrunning back in April. So what you're seing is just a lot of this is the result of several months of route optimization. So he goes there, jumps down, goes on top of the cube dispenser, into there, skips that door, going back over there, picking up the one that he missed, and using his laser to kill those 2 crates, making use of the half pipe to get a speed boost so that you can get in there, skipping that door. Most of these rooms have puzzles that you're supposed to solve to get in there, but by using careful use of the platforming in this game, you're able to skip those, and that saves several seconds per. So over the course of the run, as many of them as you can skip as possible. It can add up to about a minute or so. So now that he's collected all 50 of those blue energy charges, he's going up this bridge. This bridge is almost entirely made out of half pipes, and those are all pretty glitchy. You'll see in a moment, possibly. Yeah, that one gives you a lot of height, and sometimes it gives you enough height that you just die a fall damage death on the way down. So that's a fun time. Yeah, so now you're inside the building. It's a similar thing, but now the crates are just kind of out in the open. You just got to do some jumping off of various ramps to get up. Tadda's route for this just involves going up that speed gaining ramp, getting max speed, and then just trying to hold it for as long as you can. Doing pretty well there. Oof. Okay, that was looks like Workday is having a fun time with us today. What you're also seeing a lot of here is what's called an RBJ, or a ramp box jump, where Wally gains additional speed by instead of doing a regular jump off of a jump ramp, doing the jump while in box. That gives you the normal speed boost from box charging, but along the ramp, which gives you actually slightly more speed than usual, and nets you extra height, makes it easier to clear a lot of obstacles. So this next level is Hidden Treasure, which is actually possibly the most platforming intensive level, or one of the most platforming intensive levels in the game for casual run. So what you just saw there was he skipped throwing a cube at that solar charge device by just doing a box charge into it at an angle, and then he skipped the door with a really, really precise that allows you to just get past that door and go straight onto the ramp going upwards. Okay, it's going back down. So this next skip only really saves a few seconds, but by going through the or by going on that I-beam, you're able to skip going all the way around and up a narrow ramp. So our Tad has really been going for optimizing this game as much as he can. There's a lot of skips here that are very, very risky to do and don't save a whole lot of time, but we've kind of reached a point where until we discover new skips that are easier to do, this is the only way that time optimization is going to happen. Yeah, see, that was another example of where box charging is done instead of jumping. And it's just because your jump doesn't do anything for height. So all of the places where they intend you to jump, you can usually just go across straight if you have enough speed. By abusing the half pipe mechanics, you can conserve a lot of speed into the remainder of the level. Hey Grano, yeah, Ted is doing pretty good so far. He had a couple of chokes in Workday, and he did miss the jump in BNL tune-up, but other than that, he's doing pretty well. So, a very solid run. So that was Hidden Treasure. Up next, we have the next reuse of the Wally's house level, wherein you're going to be chasing a laser around, and usually that laser does like 3 or 4 laps around the level. But by going in front of it and going backwards, you can cancel that, and it'll just lead you straight out the door. So this is another very, very short level. There he is. There's the laser. So, and it's just going around, forcing the laser to go backwards. And that's the level. So up next we have the level Shipyard, which in my opinion is the most fun level of the game, and which has had really the most time optimizations in it so far. There's a lot of really interesting skips here where you can skip entire segments of the level using various glitches. So I'm gonna kind of show you the way through that. The red dot level is really just a thing because they needed to reuse the Wally's house level. They originally intended for it to be the hub world of the game, but ended up scrapping that and just had a level and nothing to do with it, so they just stuck a couple of filler levels in there. Here's where things get interesting. So starting off, there's a little platform that you're supposed to throw a cube at to lower it. You skip that with a precise jump, and you skip even more platforming with another jump in the same direction, and now you're already at the next segment of the level. There were a few half pipes you're supposed to do. Here, he's going to jump backwards to do a clip through the ceiling to activate the next cutscene. That saves a few seconds. And if you did this right, and you did do this right, Eve stays in her default animation rather than pointing her gun at Wally like she's supposed to. So next up, we got blasting into the section where the skip called the Skip Yard takes place. So here we got to collect another 50 of those blue energy charges to open a door that we're going to proceed to not go through, because all that door really does for us is it activates a checkpoint that allows you to move on to the next segment. What you're seeing going on here is just a lot more of going through this level, picking up the blue energy charges. We call them batteries because energy charge takes way too long to say. And in this door, you just have to click on the buttons to win. So it's really just a spam door. So now he has all 70 batteries, just opens that door, and then does bridge jump, which used to be a super hard jump, but now recently Tadda discovered that it's a lot more consistent if you angle it right before you go, and so now you get it on this, like the second try every time. So what you saw there was a vertical damage boost, where by taking damage, it forces you into an animation with a constant forward speed, and because after that you hit a wall at an angle, it forces you way up and lets you go out of bounds. Using that out of bounds, he was able to jump to the next cutscene trigger and skip the entire part of. So now we're on the second to last segment of this level, which he just skipped using a wall ride by just driving up what looks like a wall, but is actually just a really steep floor, jumping back off, and then diving into an exceptionally large cutscene trigger. So basically, there's two ways to initiate wall rides. You can't do it by just driving into it. So the fast way is to enter it from the air, which you can do by jumping. And the second fastest way, which is what you saw here, because there's nowhere to jump from, is to just box charge into it repeatedly. Classified. Sometimes it goes fast, sometimes it doesn't. It's not quite as consistent. So next up, what we got is backwards race, where you just have to chase Eve around a track. But because Eve is programmed to stay in front of you units, if you go backwards, she doesn't go anywhere. So by doing some slightly more precise platforming than is required normally, you're able to just go around the whole racetrack backward, like that. And Eve will be there, and once you contact her, the level ends. There you go. So by going backwards, you were able to skip doing 3-4 laps of that. So this next level is the first Eve level. The Eve levels are pretty much all autoscrollers, because Eve moves at a constant speed, and all the levels are pretty much just go in, or just go along a fixed path to the end. So it's very, very hard to save time. This game is very easy to learn, but very hard to master. Like competitive time in my first run of about a little over 2 hours. But I mean, Tadda's been going at this for months and has finally managed to drive the time down to, I think the most recent one is about 1 hour 41 30 seconds ish. Actually, I think it just drove it lower even. But yeah, I mean, if you want to run this game, it's very easy to get a good time. It's very hard to get a great time. Hazards in this level do a pitiful amount of damage to where it's just not even worth trying to avoid them. You just go straight through them. You take 1 bar of damage, and then you occasionally drop some lasers into a health crate. So that was the last of the Earth, or no, that was the second last of the Earth levels. Next we have Surprise Departure, which is another one of those gotta go fast levels where you're just going down a hill. Except this time there isn't a very good skip for this one, so he's just going to do the level like normal, but slightly faster. So these cutscenes are a nice good time to stretch your legs if you're playing the game. Get a drink, whatever you need to do. There's a couple of them later on that are very, very long. This one is a pretty short cutscene. But these are actually surprisingly well animated for this being a licensed game associated with a movie. And I think a good part of that stems from the characters being robots, so they're not necessarily hard to animate, but the shaders on this are really nice. Like, if you could see the reflections on Eve, that was nice. The TV isn't playing the VHS like in the movie because I couldn't get the rights to the original Hello Dolly for the video game, just for the movie. Alright, so now what you see here is just Tadda going downhill very, very, very quickly, taking very, very clean and efficient racing lines to drive those milliseconds down, because there's no major skips in this level. Although it is a fun place where if you touch a barrier the wrong way, you'll get another one of those vertical damage boosts, and it'll launch you straight up into a fall death trigger. So you will see Wally go up, and then the screen will cut to black, and you'll see Wally fall to his doom. It's a very, very fun time, unless you're trying to do a speed run. Close, okay. So if you mess up a jump like that, you have a few frames while contacting a wall to box charge back to safety. That's just a consequence of how the game's physics work. It's not really an intended feature, but it is a nice way to save your run if you are if you miss a jump like that. and that is Surprise Departure. It's very similar to Sandstorm Sprint, but with some harder jumps in it, and not a whole lot of substance. It gave the DS a better score. I am never trusting IGN again. I never trusted IGN before, but nah. Okay, so this next level is pretty much an auto-scroller. It just has you shooting lasers at various objects in space. There's actually an easier version of this level up later where you don't have a laser meter to deal with. Although you really don't have to deal with the laser meter much here because recharges are everywhere. So you're just shooting these satellites, just trying to clear the screen as fast as you can, because you can actually lose time by not clearing the screen quickly. But I'm pretty much every screen full of objects gets cleared quickly. So now that you've gotten past the Earths, or the satellites have become comets instead, which is a nice detail. But now they're a lot less fun to look at. Yeah, you can see Tadda having a lot of fun with the laser there because, I mean, again, this is pretty much an auto-scroller. There's not much you can do other than wait a lot of the time. Okay, so we are now on the first Axiom level, which is Tadda's least favorite level of the game. This is Eve Pursuit, where Eve is being taken to the captain of the Axiom, and you have to follow her very, very fast. So there's a lot of skips in this game because there's a lot of skips in this level because nobody really likes playing. So you're gonna see some fairly neat stuff going on here. Rehydrate. Yeah. Alright, so the level's starting. Pretty standard for in this game. You've got the target program to stay a certain number of units in front of you, but this time it actually has a maximum speed, so you can catch up with it. And it has collisions, so you can sometimes hit it and have fun times. So you've got to stay a healthy distance away from there. So here you're going to see the first skip of this level, where he goes off to the side and then waits for a sick inertia drift. Once it gets past that checkpoint, it recognizes that you're way ahead and just starts going fast. If you go too fast, though, it triggers a death wherein Wally loses Eve, and then you have to restart the levels. So you gotta wait for it to start speeding up before you can go. And you can skip a little bit of platforming there by going backwards like you just did. And that's the first segment.
Remember and reproduce to gain access.
Stop. Security success.
Oof.
Stop. Stop.
These doors are very easy to do, but very hard to do fast. So it's very easy to get a missed input here because it won't let you move diagonally. So you have to, between presses of the space bar, you have to get an up and a sideways in. And sometimes the game just likes to eat your input. So here you're going to see a skip that was just recently discovered where you get to miss a little bit of the half-pipe section by going diagonally in that way. If you can pull it off, it saves a good few seconds. Otherwise, it's pretty much neutral. Here we have the worst segment of this level, which is just an auto-scroll, where you just have to ride on these carts for a while. They're incredibly slow. And if you touch the ground, you die. So you'll see a lot of idle dancing here. Tadda enjoys spinning in circles and playing the music, and also spamming in and out of box form. I personally am a fan of spamming first-person view because it makes an obnoxious sound. But yeah, everyone has a pretty different one.
On the Axiom, shop, play, and do nothing for 5 luxurious years.
Shop, play, and do nothing for 5 luxurious years.
Get clean away for 5 incredibly relaxing years.
These messages, there's only a few of them, and you will hear them all a lot.
Happy Axiom Day.
And that is the end of this obnoxious section. You got another one of these doors.
Security success.
Rest in spaghetti, never forget it.
Get away.
Yeah. Again, these doors are very easy to do, but very hard to do fast. It's very, very easy for the game to drop an input in there, and then you have to go all the way back to the beginning of it. So in this part, you're technically supposed to use the half pipes to gain speed, but by doing RBJs instead, you're able to get the speed that you need without having to waste time in the half pipe animation. This is just another standard segment where you're just going fast. Have to go over some obstacles. Again, Eve is programmed to tantalizingly close, but not close enough for you to catch her. And she slows down every time you go over a half pipe because those things are incredibly slow.
Shop, play, and do nothing for 5 luxurious years.
Yeah, really nothing too particularly interesting about this segment. It's just a lot of the same platforming you saw before, but slower. And that is the end of Eve Pursuit. We're moving on now to the first true auto-scroller of this game, which is Clean Getaway. You are on a fixed path. You are moving at a fixed speed, and you have to kill the you have to kill the steward bot. You cannot lose time in this level unless you die, and you will not die if you are decent at this.
The Axiom, the luxury space. No need to get up.
What you just saw there was a fun little glitch where you can actually kill the steward before it spawns, and it just it pops right back in. So that's a fun one.
By and large, we have a vending
Other than that, there's really nothing interesting in this level. You can kill the stewards moments after they pop in, and then you just have to wait.
If you're not happy, you're not consuming. Don't be the only one without what you need.
Hey, Ray Amino, have you run this game?
Get Clean away for 5 incredibly relaxing years.
Okay.
By and large, thank you for have a by and large day.
Right, and here we go. I think that was the last of them. Yep, that's it. That's the level. There goes Autoscroller, true Autoscroller number 1. Next up, we have Life on the Axiom, which is a pretty fun intro level to show you the mechanics of how the reject bots work, which are fun little mechanics that you get to work with. But they each only get used like once or twice, so it feels kind of like a waste to have a whole level dedicated to teaching you how to use them.
Congratulations, Captain.
And you can
If you are
also
seeing
skip
this, that means the Eve probe has returned from Earth with a confirmed specimen of ongoing photosynthesis, a plant. It's now time to go back to Earth and begin Operation Recolonize.
Go back? Back to Earth?
Affirmative, Captain.
Well, let's open her up.
No, Ray, I mean, I asked if you ran this game.
Where's the thingy? Plant. Right. Yeah. So, where is it?
La Planta.
Specimen. Rogue's memory is faulty.
So then, we're not going to Earth?
Affirmative, Captain.
Not going to Earth? Affirmative, Captain.
The probe must be defective. Send her to
Yeah,
the
Captain
repair
has a
ward
lot
for
of great
check,
lines
and
in this
fix
game.
that robot as well. Have it hose
Fix
down or
that
something. It's
robot as
filthy.
well. Have it hosed down or something. It's filthy. Yeah, so coming up, we got, again, Life on the Axiom with just a nice intro to how the reject bots work, and one of like 2 times in this game that you'll use each of them. Yeah, that's fair. I'm also bad at speedruns, so it's a good time for all. You also get a nice introduction to magnet cubes here. In this level, there's a lamp watch you're supposed to use to illuminate this, but it's pretty easy to memorize the pattern, and there's also just a way to skip the jump entirely. By dying, it just warps you back to the beginning, so you don't have to do the jump again. I think it's technically faster to jump back, but dying is more consistent, and you'll probably die anyway trying to jump, so that's it. These doors are incredibly fast because you don't have to deal with getting yeeted back to the beginning if you mess up. So it really pays off to go super fast on these. Like that. So by throwing a magnet cube, manipulate this, the big magnet cube, and it just attracts it to the position where it fell to. Oh, that's interesting. I've never...
Dial code to gain access. Clear.
I've never seen a magnet cube get thrown and then not bound or not explode. Yes. So there you just have to use the massage robot to attract or to destroy those cubes.
Please decode sequence.
Yeah. So that's the only place in this level where you can get full speed, and there's really not a whole lot of use for it. You can theoretically sneak a cube past this gopher robot here that's supposed to prevent you from taking cubes through by using full speed, because you have to throw a cube at the target prior to entering that room. You would have to go all the way back to get your maximum speed back. So instead, you have to use this vacuum bot to throw trash at you, and then it lets you in. Yeah. So the way vacuum works, he just sneezes in your face. You take that trash and then you compact it into a cube, and then you have another cube to throw at stuff. Yeet.
Remember and reproduce to gain access.
Defib is just able to open doors. So once you get her out of there, going back to solving these fast, I see. Yeah, once you get her out of there, you just have to call her over to the door, and that's
Clear.
Total Drama was originally named Camp TV. I did not know that. Yeah.
Clear.
So Defib moves incredibly slowly. So you always need to get started moving her beforehand. Okay, and this last segment, ooh. Looks like the cube didn't go where it was supposed to. This is so sad. Alexa, play Despacito.
Dial code to gain access.
So this last one is an umbrella bot that basically serves as a portable trampoline that lets you bounce off of it. There's a couple of places in the game where you can actually use it to get a pretty good amount of speed and a vertical boost in the same go. But its movement speed is slower than your normal movement speed, so you want to try and position it beforehand if you can. So that was life on the Axiom. Just collect 100 blue energy charges or batteries, and then heat yourself into Robot Rescue, where Eve is getting repaired at the repair ward. Wally is confused about what's going on, needs to get her back using these two very tightly guarded security keys.
Clear.
So those stewards just put the cart in there. You got to get it back. There's a few sub rooms in here that you have to go through to get the parts of the floor back. So you're going to see Tadda collecting a battery there, which is important for later. This is the only part where you're actually able to collect batteries for two separate doors in one segment. So up here, it's going to have to collect a few batteries to get through that door at the end of the room. So using this magnet cube, the game wants you to make a bridge so you can get the umbrella robot out. And here is going to do what's called an umbrella boost, wherein he's able to skip having to go all the way over there by just initiating a long E. Yeah, so now he's collecting the batteries for the next segment. Just need 10 of them to get through that door. And you can do these in any order, with the exception of the last room, which doesn't become available till later. So here, these guys are throwing cubes at you. You're supposed to kill them, but it's easier and faster to just ignore. Like that.
Clear.
And so now these guys are getting real angry and trying to kill you during the cutscene. Fortunately, you can't die during cutscenes. You got that dank plot armor. So now we're off to the next segment of this level. You see the floor is now completely back, so you're able to access this door. That was fast. These doors are pretty annoying.
Clear. Dial code to
So
get access.
here you have to get Hans so that you can clear some crates at the other side of the room, and you have to dodge this seeing iRobot or intentionally get seen all the stewards. If he sees you, the stewards come out after you, so it's easier to kill them when you're planning to instead of when it sees you, because it will see you at some point.
On a relaxing luxury.
So yeah, coming up, you just got some platforming just going up and over there. Gotta go back up there though, because you need to get up on that table to get that last crate. What the game actually wants you to do, I'm pretty sure, is to go all the way up and then jump down from that high place, but there are some relatively conveniently placed blocks there that you can use to get there instead. All right, see you later, Ray Amino. So now you get what I guess amounts to a boss fight. You just gotta kill all these stewards. They're real heckin' angry. They're having a bra moment because you're trying to steal their key. But little do they know that Wally can just body check anybody. So now we're on to the next segment, which can have some bra moments in it, and possibly the weirdest glitch in this game, which we'll encounter pretty close to the end of this level. Starting off, we got another light maze, but this one you actually need the light for because there are enemies in here, which are afraid of light, so they won't hurt you if you are illuminated, but yeah, they do that if the light's too far away, so that's annoying. Other than that, it's just a standard run through here, jump. Once you're past those, there aren't any, so you just gotta go. The magnet cubes really aren't giving Tadda a good time today. Gotta kill Mo. There was a glitch with the cube that got clipped. It was just an interesting collision moment with the game. So yeah, I will. I'll drop it in the license-a-thon Discord once this is done. I just hit the clip button. I haven't actually edited it yet. Got another one of these puzzle doors here. Pretty simple.
Clear.
Looks like Snake's got it. Yeah, Snakes, if you can just drop that in the license-a-thon Discord, that would be good. So here we've got another vacuum skip. So normally what you're supposed to do is bring the vacuum cleaner robot in so you can make cube. But instead, what you got, which Tadda's having a hard time with right now, but you can get a vertical boost by box charge. I think this is frame rate dependent. There you go. Never mind, he's got it. That usually happens a lot earlier, but by doing that, you're able to skip having to lure the vacuum cleaner robot in, which saves time.
Dial code to gain.
And then you can skip that part without having to throw cubes and wait for
Clear.
the arms to do their thing, because those take a lot of time. So up next, we've got a room with another OPT robot, which you can just ignore because all you got to do is throw a cube in there and run. So there's nothing of substance there. Oh, okay. So if you've got okay, just drop it in the Wally speedrunning Discord then, and I'll pass it on to License-a-thon. Yes, the stewards here, which is what it's called when some of these stewards just teleport under the floor, and you have to deal with finding them. It's pretty glitchy. Oh, I guess none of them were actually under the floor. Usually, one or two of them end up under the floor, and you have to spend some time messing around with first-person view to get them to come back up. So that was Robot Rescue. Up next, we got Human Highway, which is one of the first levels where it's actually pretty easy to die from taking damage, because you got a lot more of the steward rope. They throw cubes at you. You've got the first instance of the explosive cube on the Axiom. Why they're keeping explosives on this ship in the in places where people are, I have no idea. But they have it there, so you get to deal with explosive cube. Yeah, I think unlucky stewards might be frame rate dependent, because I get it pretty much every time, and I have a very high frame rate in the game. I'm getting close to 300 FPS. Yeah, so if Tadda's having lower frame rates while streaming, that'll definitely do it. We're about this game as we speak. So yeah, here's what explosive cubes look like in these levels. Just gonna do a heavy-duty yeet there.
The Axiom, the luxury space.
And these are valuable because they can take out 2 stewards in one shot. But you got to be careful, because if you get hit too many times, or if you get hit, you just drop them. So you got to be very careful with your routings, because if you want to use that explosive cube, you have to not get hit.
Rogue robot. Match color pairs to gain access.
Yeah. So actually, leaving the game on doesn't actually slowly increase the frame rate. There's just one step where it goes real fast. This was a thing that I discovered a while ago when I just left the game running over. And that ended up causing a split in the any percent category, because I ended up getting a world record by 10 minutes by just leaving the game on for a week shortly after I discovered the glitch. Yeah, there's just really one step where after a couple of hours it gets to be about a third faster. It goes between 10 and 30%, just depending on the level. And I think it's just whatever counters that they're using to correlate in-game frames to real-time overflow. Oh, that was a glitchy stupid. And it causes the game to run at a frame rate dependent speed instead of a real speed.
Remember and reproduce.
Yeah, the stewards in this game have what I think is also a lot of really interesting frame rate dependent glitches, because I mean I never experienced anything like this when I was playing this game in 2009 on a Mac that ran at 60 FPS. I've only experienced glitches really when I started playing it on my gaming PC this year.
Clear.
So these Frogger portions are annoying just because the hitboxes are not the size that you think they should be, and it's a lot easier to die than you would expect there. So you got to be kind of conservative with your jump. Here, the death barriers are super close to the floor, so if you mess up that jump even just slightly, you just die. But this jump is worth trying a few times just because it saves a lot of time to go get the vacuum robot out. So
Clear.
even though he missed that jump 3 times, it still saved him time. Here you got another Frogger section, just standard, get across. Got hitboxed again. These are annoying. And again here the death barriers are scary close to the floor, so even though theoretically you should be able to start running as soon as you throw that cube, if you go down at all, even if you land, it triggers a falling down. So you gotta deal with that. It's a fun time.
Please decode sequence.
Yeah, Fetty Boy, I have had a fun time running this game. It's pretty easy to get started right. It's very easy to get a competitive time, but it's very, very hard to get like in the top 2 because there's a lot of complicated skips here. But it's very satisfying to be able to just go from not having done a speed run at all before, all the way to being, you know, one of the more competitive runners in the game, just learning the skip. Because at its core, the skips aren't particularly hard to do; they just all take practice. Oh yeah, this game is very, very active. The world record just got pushed a few days ago. Tadda's been running very extensively. I've been taking a little bit of a break because I've been working over the summer. But yeah, we've all been running this. There's also an active community trying to remake the game. So there's people trying to make a fan game with updated graphics in Unity, and that's active also. Yeah, 2%. You should definitely play the game if you already have it. It's a fun game, even just to play casually. Honestly, I got encouraged to start speedrunning it because as part of my general shovelware collection of mostly Wii games. So one of my friends just said pretty much on a dare that I should speedrun one of these games. I decided, you know, Wally was the most tolerable out of all of them to me. And you know, I've actually had a really good time playing it. Okay, so what you just saw there was an interesting glitch where the cursor isn't allowed to leave the window region except when you're confirming the dialog box. But it will let you stay there after you confirm the dialog box. So by shooting your laser down there, it will hit Wally and cause him to face the wrong way. So he's supposed to be standing at that console shooting the laser, but now he's facing backwards because you can do damage to yourself. But Yeah, this is just this is the easier version of Stowaway to Space, where you're just shooting things, but now you don't have a laser bar, so you can really just run the laser all the time. Actually, TYD found that this was not Tadda. Yeah, Tadda stays in the chat because this particular level is not gameplay intensive in the slightest.
Clear.
Okay, so up next we got another Eve, where Eve is chasing down Wally. Again, nothing really too special about this level. Just go fast. Wally or Eve moves at a fixed speed. Wally stays a fixed distance in front of her. So as long as you can keep going, Wally's position will update. You just gotta try to not hit things. Laser spam is also pretty common practice in these levels because you don't have much else to do. Eve levels are basically auto-scrollers. Most runners do keyboard. I do with controller. Well, actually, I do combination mouse controller. Because for the laser levels, you really want that mouse access, and also you can bind certain controls to the scroll wheel, which lets you spam certain controls very fast. Here's the best line in the game. Goodness gracious!
Rogue robot. Caution. Caution. Rogue robot. Caution. Rogue robot.
So here we got the longest cutscene in the game. Where Eve takes the plant up to the captain. It is revealed that, oh my gosh, Otto wants everyone to not go to Earth. And then there's a nice altercation in there. Run is overall pretty solid. There's been a few chokes here and there, so it's definitely not world record pace, but it's a very solid run nonetheless. Here we got I forgot about this. We got an auto-scroller. I always forget about the auto-scrollers. You just gotta kill Gopher once per second. You can usually kill him within a few frames of entering the level, or of entering the stage. So it's just waiting. It's entirely wait. Not much going on here. So this level is actually supposed to be a lot harder because it was designed for the PS2, so you can only move your reticle at a fixed speed using the thumbstick. But with a mouse, it's super easy. Tadda is the world record record, so a PB for him is a world record. This would definitely be a PB for me, but not for Tadda. Actually, would this be a PB for me? Yeah, it would. Just gotta yeet Gopher into oblivion. Oh. Okay, now we get the longest cutscene in the game, where Eve goes up there. Get to find out that Otto is, spoiler alert, preventing the ship from going back to Earth. There's an altercation, and you get the surprisingly dark levels immediately after this, where you're in the trash.
Prepare for landing. We're home! Yay! Yay! Wow!
We're home!
It's so beautiful! Who could believe it? Wow!
It's
No, it's
so
nothing.
beautiful!
I was pleased to do it.
Captain has a lot of
What
really
is
good
this?
lines in this game.
The plant? How'd you find it? We can go back home. Can it really be true? Otto, look! We're going home!
Negative, Captain.
But it found the plant! All we need to do now is get the plant to the hollow detector.
Sir, I insist you give me the plant.
Gopher! Hey! That's my plant! Where are you going? Come back here! Ah, this is mutiny! Probe! Arrest Otto!
You are confined to quarters, Captain.
No! Mutiny! Mutiny!
Give me the plant. So this cutscene is pretty much the time to go take a bathroom break when you're running this game, because it is that long. It's almost over, but it is still pretty long. I don't know exactly off the top of my head. Oh, yeah, there is a weird camera bug in this level where if you start moving too early, you'll end up going to the crushers on the sides and just die instantly. This is just another one of those gotta go fast downhill speed levels where you're set to max speed the whole time and just have to go. No clip on this one, and even if there was, this one is more linear, so it wouldn't help. So you just gotta go straight line fast as you can, take the corners as tight as you can, and that's pretty much the best you can do. Those sand blasters actually do a good amount of damage, so you have to watch out for those. Oh, that was a boost. All right, so that was the level Trash Chute. Coming up, we have Fixing Eve, where you are now in the garbage room. Just the room where they store all the trash before they yeet it out into space with the airlock. Eve is damaged. You gotta repair her. In the middle of this cutscene, you get a mini game. So here comes your mid cutscene mini game. And this concludes our mid cutscene minigame. So this cutscene has a part 2. Yeah, this is the exact opposite of the movie. So this was a part of an earlier draft of the movie where Wally was not the one that was hurt. It was actually Eve. And this was a last-minute change on Pixar's part where they decided it was better for the narrative for Eve to be the one that was hurt. So this level had already been made into the game, so they didn't have time to change that, but or because it was too close to release already. But the Pixar crew worked super duper hard to get the movie rejiggered so that it would work in a way that Eve would simply be shut off and Wally would be the one that was tasered. So they added in the scene at the repair ward where they showed Eve getting shut off with the red, so they could introduce that mechanic, and then they did the scene where Wally got shocked. Yeah, there's actually remnants of that in the original trailers where they show Wally and Mo shaking hands. It's the original version of the scene where Wally is okay and he's trying to drag Eve back into the airlock. So here Tadda is just trying to collect more of those blue batteries so that he can unlock some doors in the next stage of the which you're about to see because you just finished. So here you get some more magnet cube shenanigans because you have to use that magnet cube as a platform to get into these side rooms like that. Normally you would use the umbrella robot as a trampoline to get onto this magnet cube. That umbrella robot is slow, so instead you just eat the magnet cube out there and hope for the best. Bap. She's gonna pick up a cube here, jump across onto there, drop the cube, open the door, go over there, throw this one, and then get off before the cube starts rotating. And that's the end of the magnet cube section. Coming up, we've got just a simple destroy all the stewards segments. Nothing too major. You have to kill all of them to get that door open, but those you can just skip. So here's one of the last times you use Hans. You just got to open that, just get rid of that crate so you can get over there. Go through the half pipe, do a jump. Oof. Mo has no collision. And you go through there. Yeah, the half pipe physics in this game are really weird. Sometimes it won't actually let you get to the top and you have to go back around. Here you got another light maze, just standard, go through quickly. You actually have to memorize this one because there's branching paths. But also they're marked with arrows, so as long as you can get through there fast and not get killed, then you're good. I think I think Tadda got lost, possibly. Oh, there's the exit. Yeah. Yeah, usually I keep the light with me a little bit longer so that doesn't happen. But the earlier you can ditch light, the faster you can go, because light's movement speed is slightly slower than you. Nice speed conservation there. Okay, so here you can skip that whole platformy bit by just getting max speed and turning around like that. That is a pro gamer move. Not very many people are able to do that. Yeah. So you activate that door, you go up to the top, and you've got another stage. You're supposed to stay on these platforms and slide, but it's quicker to just run along that rail, usually. Ooh, that was almost a death.
Dial the correct code to gain access.
Yeah. Got another one of these speedy doors.
You're all clear.
Here you just got to wait for these platforms to come in, and you can skip waiting for the next one by going up there and just box charging off. So that saves you a couple of seconds. Oh no! Oh, a fall damage death and a fall death in the same go. Oh well, it did let him. It did put him back where he needed to be. So that's. So now you got another one of these, but you actually have to ride this one because you have to change lateral positions. But this one is just an auto scroll segment. Just got to get off as soon as you can, like that. We got some more half pipes with big vertical drops this time. And without further ado, you're at the next part of the level. So you're back to Eve. You have a lot of Eve repair parts, but you're not quite there yet, but you now have a... So now you go to the next segment and are
The color pairs and you'll gain access.
faced with the airlock again. So activating this door enables the big wallies. They're called wall A's, the A being for Axiom, which go around on a track, and you can walk around on their heads to get around. This guy cannot leave his home zone, so it's easier to just leave him and then solve the puzzle. Usually, if you leave them active, when you solve puzzles, they'll come in and zap, and that cancels the puzzle. So you have to kill them all. But this particular one, you can get around. The puzzles randomized. They're the same type of puzzle every time, but the patterns are always different. So it's just a matter of. I mean, they give you a chance to remember the colors beforehand, but that's it. Like you can't remember them between runs, is the thing. Well, you'll get a nice one where all the colors are opposite to each other, which is nice. Okay, so you now have all the parts for E, and this is where the real fun begins. Yeah, no insanely fast muscle memory input, just generated on the fly, insanely fast input. Eva. Oh. So here we got Hollow Detector Dash, which has some neat skips in it. I'll talk about them as they happen.
Otto, this is mutiny. This is your last chance.
The captain is just
stupid wheel.
really angry right now.
The plan.
Stupid wheel.
Hey.
This is the captain. I'm locked in my room. Drop one, bring the plan to the Lido deck. Now! Hurry! Otto's probably gonna cut me off. And if he does... Oh, boy.
Okay, so here's one of the last progress segments of the game. You just gotta jump across quickly. Not much substance there. What you're about to see, though, is a skip called Fountain Skip, which has some pretty neat mechanics to it. So what you're going to see first is he shot his laser at the steward to lure it over to his position, where it is going to cause a damage boost up onto that platform, where he's now going to do that fountain over there and back up using a wall ride, and that gets him to the next segment of the level without having to do what you normally do, which is shut off the fountain. He does have to complete the next segment of the level because the fountain have collisions on the two end fountains. So only the ones in the middle are safe to stand on. The rest of them will push you off into the water. And so to get up there, you have to disable the second set of fountains to proceed to the next portion of the level. But by not having to turn off the first set of fountains, you're able to save a pretty solid amount of time.
Stop. Enough. Stop. Security success. Not allowed. Enough.
Clear.
So here you're just collecting enough of those blue energy charges again to enable that door. Normally what you're supposed to do is throw that magnet cube to get that obstruction out of your way. But you're able to do a jump here that gets you across. And there you go. So coming up next, you've got another magnet cube to move, which exposes a cube target. So while he's waiting for the magnet effect to wear off, he picks up another cube, goes in, throws it, and is now in the next room. Gets some more crates. The stewards are all mad at him because the laser robot's off. So he turns one of them into a cube and and jumps across. Normally you would use those magnet cubes as a platform, but you're able to get just enough room by jumping across that you can not do. So now he just goes back. There is a door over there with a control panel behind it, which he's able to use to deactivate the next set of lights or of fountain. Finish making a salad. So yeah, now that the fountains are off, it's just a mad dash to the next segment to the left. Just skipping all the stewards, don't have to deal with them. Oh, that was some interesting collision there. Oh, they're coming for you. They're coming for you. and he conserves max speed there. Because the next jump, you can do it with a max speed. It's actually fairly easy to do, but the longer you can keep the max speed, obviously, the more time you save. Okay, yeah, he's gonna have to do it with that. So he uses a box charge to bounce up and just get onto those fountains. The movement isn't necessarily button mashing, but Tadda is button mashing because spamming box charge makes you between 10 and 30% faster, depending on what speed or depending on what your base speed is. So spamming the box charge move does increase your movement speed by a lot, and it definitely adds up over the course of the run. So here you just have to kill enough of the stewards to deactivate the door and go on to the next segment. You gotta do this twice. There is a way to skip the doors, but it's pretty much a TAS-only strat because it's very hard to do consistently in an RTA. This is one of the few cases in the game where it's actually more efficient to kill the stewards with your laser because the cubes here are so far in between that you're not able to get very easy access to them to throw. So you're pretty much just box charging and lasering. And now we're to the last stage of this level, which is just a really big boss fight with a bunch of stewards. The way I usually approach this is I make one cube and I just keep throwing that cube at them, because the stewards will actually pick up the cubes you make and throw them back at you, so having one cube ensures that they can't throw them at you. Tadda is a lot more careful with his cube management, so he just makes sure to throw at whichever stewards are getting near his cube, so that it doesn't get return fire. The reason you see the camera turning here is because the steward AIs don't actually activate until you look at them. So it's possible to just be on this level for 10 minutes without turning around and just trying to figure out why the heck there's nothing showing up. And there you have that. Level's done. This particular steward, you'll notice there just gets smaller instead of actually dying. So that's a fun one to see. But that's the end of this level. So up next we have a Robot's Last Stand and then Homecoming, which is the last level of the game. Robot's Last Stand is pretty fast. It's just a very short speed platforming level. And then Homecoming is an Eve level. There's a ground clip in Homecoming, which I'm not sure if Tadda's going to do because it doesn't save a whole lot of time, and it has the potential to wreck your run because you die at the end if you do it wrong. But we'll see. This level's pretty straightforward. You just got to go to the end. Got to do it fast. Managing your speed is interesting on this one because you do lose speed when you're going up, and so there's not a whole lot of ways to keep that speed. And that's the end of that level. So now all we have left is Homecoming, which again is just an Eve level. They don't go very. They don't. They can't be improved. Moves at a constant speed and the levels are pretty linear as is. So even with the out of bounds clip, when you travel in a straight line, you're not saving that much time.
What's the plant in the hollow detector?
Plant origin verified.
Yeah, the video game cutscenes are not very good at replicating the drama from the movie, unfortunately. You are relieved of...
2, 1.
You're relieved of duty. No. And that... Nada.
Citizens of Earth, by and large, welcomes you home. Shop by and large for all your new home needs.
Alright, so looks like he's not doing the skip. Usually what you would do is you could clip through the bottom of the floor at the beginning of that level, and it takes a few seconds for you to clip out, but once you're out, you just have to stay outside of the bounds of the level for the rest of there and just fly parallel to it, and then you can hit the end cutscene trigger by just flying in a straight line. But the couple of seconds that you lose attempting to get out of it actually end up adding up to where it's only like a couple of seconds, if that, faster than just playing normally. So we've all just gone back to playing normally, since having the potential to kill your run right at the end of the game is kind of bad. So just a lot of flying here, just pretty much going in a straight line, shooting the occasional box for fun. I don't know if those windmills were originally supposed to be hard to dodge, but they're not. Yeah, time is when I clears the third results screen after the cutscene, because that's the last mandatory input before the credits. But yeah, this is the game. That was a pretty solid run. Tadda did a great job here. Yeah, I will. I'll say time. Yeah, well, this has been Wally. Thank you guys all for stopping by. It was a good run. If you guys are interested in running this game or just interested in watching the speed running, there's a link to the Wally speedrunning Discord on speedrun.com. Thank you for stopping by. Next, we're going to be seeing Scott Pilgrim. And that's time. Okay. Yeah, so up next we have Scott Pilgrim versus the World Max Stats with No Cheats by Dashy.io, or Dashy10, sorry. Thank you guys for stopping by and watching this. I hope you guys enjoy.
Thanks so much for that. That was really good
I hope you
commentary.
guys enjoyed the rest of License-a-thon. I'm gonna stick around in the chat because this has been a fun time. I don't know what Tadda's plans are, but yeah, thank you all for watching, and
Come on,
I will see
everybody.
you around.
It's not so